Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. I train up here super fast. Hope you guys are doing well. My name's Connor. If you are new, the original link to the J Foreman video, top of the description, as always. Thank you, people on Discord who recommended this. Who was it, Menra or something? Thank you, guys. Let's get started, shall we? It's a good day. Night.
www.welcometomapmen.com.
We're the men.org.
And here's the .map/titles. Today's programme is about a map of the internet.
Hang on, we did that last time.
Yes, but that was a different map of the internet.
Is it different enough that we won't repeat ourselves and the story will still feel completely unique and compelling?
Who cares?
Absolutely.
Oh, go on then.
This map shows all the registered CCTLDs on the DNS system.
CC what?
Ah yes. Before we get to the juicy map bit, we need a crash course in the internet. Strap in.
Oops. Back in the early days of the internet, when computers looked like this, people surfed the internet by painstakingly typing entire website addresses into the URL bar of a browser. The words in this web address are known as a domain name, and every single one is stored on something called the Domain Name System, or DNS.
The DNS does one very important job. It translates memorable website addresses into the horribly unmemorable IP addresses made up of numbers and dots that computers use to communicate and access websites.
This worked fine for the first few years, but as the early internet grew, it became clear that this system wouldn't be able to cope with demand.
In the 1980s, a California-based super geek called...
I want to read those. Hold on.
This system wouldn't be able to cope with demand.
In the 19...
Cheeky monkeys, cute dogs, Mapmen merch, silly geese, dancing hamsters, edible swans, cowardly lions, blind mice, explore Rutland, screaming goats. Rutland. That is a place in Britain that's really small and in like the center of England, isn't it? I thought I had the English counties down.
In the 80s, a California-based super geek called John Postel figured out a way of streamlining this clunky system, and what he did was so important it would eventually earn him the nickname God of the Internet. John broke down the DNS into a hierarchical system that commands could flow through without getting all clogged up. And to make it work, every website now included something called a TLD, or top-level domain.
The TLD is the flourish after the dot that describes the type of website you're looking at. The first 6 to be included were .gov,
Government-y,
.edu,
education-y,
.net,
internet-y,
.mil,
military-y,
.org,
relating to non-profit organs,
and by far most famously, .com.
commercially / absolutely anything-y.
The only one I didn't recognize is the .mil.
Most computer scientists at the time felt that these 6 top-level domains was plenty to be getting on with.
But John Postel was no most computer scientist. He cleverly envisaged the future and predicted that the internet would spread around the world, one day being used by as many as 4,000 people.
So, to stop the 6 TLDs getting overcrowded with websites, in 1985 he invented a new subcategory, the country code top-level domain, or CCTLD. CCTLDs worked like the +44 dialing code you have to put on a phone number when calling the UK from abroad.
Like this.
The country code TLD is this bit, which comes before the slash, after the dot, and sometimes, depending on the country, after another TLD, such as the code.
On geography, what's the game? GeoGuessr. It's such an easy way to find out where you are if you can find a URL and it has the country. Anyways.
In .co.uk or the com in .com.au.
Sorry, I gotta stop.
Depending on the country, after another TLD, such as the co in .co.uk or the com in .com.au.
The important thing is, the country code always has 2 letters. Most people don't give a second, let alone a third thought to these codes, but because we love countries,
And because we have a vested interest in the internet,
we've gone and given at least 4 thoughts to them.
and it turns out country code top-level domains are a fascinating mess.
There are 195 UN recognised countries, so there should be 195 country code TLDs. But there are 308!
Why so many? Who was responsible for giving out all these codes?
Helpfully for our costume budget, it was John Postel again.
Rather than come up with a 2-letter code for every country himself,
which would have taken at least half an hour,
John took the easy route and found a pre-existing list, the catchily titled
ISO 3166-1,
which had been invented in the 70s for the purposes of post. And because it was for post, it also included a lot of islands that weren't strictly speaking countries. Some of the extra non-country country codes included Antarctica, United States Minor Outlying Islands, and St. Helena. St. Helena.
So the internet, just like the real world, was now divided into countries.
Napoleon.
And that didn't cause any problems at all.
or did it?
How's the barbecue coming along?
Not good.
Why? What's happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about why the barbecue's not good?
Sorry, I don't talk about my problems. I'm a real man.
What do you mean?
I am a real man. I'm in charge of my own barbecue like a real man, and real men don't talk about the things that are going wrong in their lives. It's like Dad always used to say, shut up, son.
Of course. How have you been since your dad died last week? Well, that's a shame, because with all this awful stuff you've been going through, I was going to recommend you talk to someone using BetterHelp.
ButterHelp?
BetterHelp.
Better explain.
BetterHelp
Paid partnership!
is an online platform that will assess your needs and match you with your very own professional therapist.
Therapy? I don't want to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room.
It's all online. You can book weekly sessions with your therapist via video or over the phone.
I don't know. My problems
Please make sure to use their promo codes and stuff, guys, if you're interested in this.
are pretty specific.
BetterHelp has more than 30,000 therapists with a broad range of expertise, and you can ask to be matched with someone new at any time at no extra cost.
I suppose talking to someone would be the first step towards taking control of my happiness and achieving my life's goals.
Click the link in the description below to get 10% off your first month and start talking now. Speaking of which, perhaps it's time you told me what's gone wrong with your barbecue.
I didn't buy any food.
Guys, I feel like that's a really good idea. I don't have a spot, but I've had therapists before, and sometimes I feel like it's not exactly, it's just like saying your stuff out loud. And so that's really good, because I feel like half of the job, or 80%, is just listening, and it helps a lot. So yeah, if you're interested in that, make sure to use their stuff, guys.
John Postle had just split the planet up into codes and immediately ran into a problem. This country.
The existing code from the ISO list was GB, but Britain already had its own academic network, called Janet, which used .UK.
So, to save faff, he let Britain keep its non-ISO code .UK, which was very sensible because GB stands for Great Britain and excludes Northern Ireland, and UK doesn't.
Incidentally, it took the driving in another country stickers people several decades to catch up.
Even more sensibly, Postle also predicted that in the future there'd be plenty more potential problems where this one came from.
So he set up the International Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, in case I can't do the job anymore.
And it's a good thing he did, because after his ungodly death in 1998, his prediction of future disagreements came predictably true.
Some places that had no business being included on a list of country codes demanded to be added, such as the EU, which is in fact several countries.
Another headache for ICANN was the world map kept changing. They had to add new country codes for new countries,
And they had to remove country codes for now defunct countries.
I hate when people call EU a country, okay? Like, it's not relevant right now, but I can go into a whole... Sorry.
had to add new.
I shouldn't be this upset over that, okay?
In fact, several countries.
Another headache for ICANN was the world map kept changing. They had to add new country codes for new countries,
And they had to remove country codes for now defunct countries. Defunctories.
But one code they curiously didn't retire was .SU, the Soviet Union.
even though the Soviet Union stopped being a thing in 1991 and the 15 countries it broke up into all got their own lovely codes in 1994, pressure from lobbyists who always quite liked the Soviet Union persuaded ICANN to keep the old Soviet domain, just in case.
Most are now nasty scanning sites, so if you're thinking about surfing the .su web, make sure your antivirus is good and up to date.
Oh, when can we look at that really interesting looking map?
Right away. This world map shows the size of each country adjusted to reflect the number of country code domain websites that are registered there.
The first thing you notice is that some countries are alarmingly massively bigger than they are in real life. The UK, Netherlands and Germany, for example.
This shouldn't come as a surprise. After all, these countries are densely populated, with big economies and lots of computers.
Broadly, these three factors explain most of the weirdness, including the alarmingly asymmetrical North and South Koreas, or the relative smallness of Africa, which has fewer registrations than all of Germany put together.
But what makes this map...
Okay, wait, so we're looking at Africa here? What is that? Where's South Africa? Zambia? Zimbabwe? Botswana? Look how small Madagascar is.
Smallness of Africa, which has fewer registrations than all of Germany put together.
But what makes this map truly fascinating is the anomalies that don't make obvious sense.
Such as the USA. Why is the world's largest economy so shrively small?
.us is, surprisingly, one of the developed world's least used CCTLDs.
The USA, which often considers itself the world's default country, has selfishly adopted the supposedly international TLD.com as their own.
As the inventor
I didn't say this before, but by the way, these sauces aren't that great. Anyways, I was gonna say, like, I never see these, you know, and this is why, I guess.
Has selfishly adopted the supposedly international TLD.com as their own.
As the inventors of the country code themselves, the way they see it, country codes are only required for websites that fall into the niche category of foreign.
Perhaps the biggest mystery is, what on this map of Earth is this massive island country with...
TK. Well, let's think about it. Kiribati? Or no. I don't know. State of... State of Canada and Mexicans. Europe, France, Dunno, Asia.
Perhaps the biggest mystery is, what on this map of Earth is this massive island country with nearly 25 million domains, the highest of all, with the country code .tk?
Turkey?
Turkey's not an island.
Torquay?
Torquay doesn't have a K.
So where is it?
Tokelau.
Never heard of it.
Neither have I.
Neither have you. Tokelau is a minuscule island chain in the Pacific with a total area of 4 square miles, a fifth the size of Torquay. It's not even a country, but a territory of New Zealand.
Is that just an
and the
asshole?
CIA says it has the smallest economy in the world.
It has the smallest economy in the world.
It's so remote that it was the last place on
Nice.
Earth to be connected to the telephone in 1997.
So why does this place have more domains under management than anywhere else?
Is it just because they're the last one? So they're just like, hey, might as well get everyone. No?
To understand that, you need to understand the most important rule when it comes to country codes.
Which is?
But there are no rules. It's up to each individual country to come up with its own policy for how its CCTLD is used.
Some countries are strict, only letting their own residents register, but others allow their CCTLDs to be used by anyone who wants them from anywhere on the planet.
So why do so many people want to use Tokelau's letters, and why does Tokelau want to let them?
Because money, and because money.
In 2001, a Dutch tech entrepreneur called Joost Zuurbier offered to pay the Tokelauan government to let him give away .tk domains for free in exchange for hosting ads. Win-win-win.
Unfortunately, this resulted in .tk being used for millions of temporary domains by spammers, phishers and cybercriminals.
Which is why, rounded up to the nearest 1%, 100% of all .tk websites are registered to people who are not really in Tokelau and have never actually been there.
As recently as November 2023, .tk's free domains were discontinued, meaning this map is already out of date, and Tokelau will have to find another way to literally put themselves on the map. But other countries didn't have to work so hard to get a similar slice of the action, because the 2-letter codes they got given were like a winning lottery ticket.
Just up the road from Tokelau, the tiny island nation of Tuvalu noticed that their 2 letters, .tv, might be very desirable to television and gaming websites. So in 1995 they started selling their domain to sites like twitch.tv.
No way. Oh, wait. So it's like getting a really good username before anyone else did, and then okay.
Earning them a handsome $10 million a year, even though less than half the country has access to the internet.
Meanwhile, in North Africa, the nation of Libya noticed that their letters, .ly, sounded like an adverb. So they sold their catchy-sounding domain to sites like Bitly.
The Federated States of Micronesia sold theirs to radio stations, Djibouti to their disc jockeys,
And a whole host of other countries that sound like things have been playing the same domain name fame game.
What this map shows best is that the success of a CCTLD is a reflection of that country's power, history, governance, and good luck. And name.
But what's staring at this map makes us wonder is, why should the internet even need country codes? Isn't the idea of dividing the planet by nation-states so 20th century and the opposite of what the internet is supposed to be about?
To tell who is who, maybe?
The answer is, who cares? These days, it's perishingly rare that you ever find a website by typing in the URL yourself. With such little attention paid to the URL, it might as well be random letters and numbers that only computers understand, just like it used to be.
And this may well be why nonsensical TLDs have been allowed to flourish, and not just the country codes.
The 6 TLDs we started with have now expanded to 1,500, and they're no longer limited to 3 letters, allowing such terrific specifics as .cat, .ninja, .pizza, and .unicorn. So who knows what TLDs and CCTLDs will look like in the internet of a billion years in the future.
Well, if it carries on like this, there probably won't be any typing at all, and the internet will just come at you like wasps.
Love you guys. Hope you're all doing well. That was... I love Map Men. All right. Great episode, as always. I'd appreciate any comments, guys. I have to pee really bad. See you next time. Bye, guys.